2023. Earth. A climate catastrophe. A post-pandemic train crash. Possibly one of the stupidest times in history to procreate. I am char-ramumessofpower.
Holding on to stories to power us through the week. So this week, I was thinking I would talk a little bit about sleep deprivation, because I think that's like possibly like the main part of life as a parent. Sleep deprivation. And when I had my baby, I spoke to one of my mates who did a lot of partying in their 20s and 30s, a lot like, like I did. And she said to me, oh, when my sister had her baby, right, she'd never been out raving. So she honestly said to me, I've never been awake at 3 a.m. in the morning so often or ever. And I was like, wow, that is insane. My mate was like, yeah, I know, right? Because I would compare like having a baby, like being like someone like, late 70s, early 80s child. I did a lot of raving. My partner said to me once, do you know, sometimes, Charlie, I just think, I haven't partied enough. Do you ever think that? And I was like, no, I don't ever think that. So yeah, anyway, I was like, when I had my baby, I was like, oh, I'm so glad I did all that raving because I am really good at this sleep deprivation lark. I'm really good at it, because that's what having a baby is like. It's like you're like rocking in a corner of the sleep deprivation like warehouse. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. It's just like that basically. It's like kind of like the child version of having raved too much. There's no drugs. There's no like pumping drum and bass. There's you and this little miraculous baby that wakes up all the time. And you desperately go to people. And you're like, does it get easier? And I think there's 3 groups of people, right? So you get one group, the optimists, who are like, it gets different, and then the realists who are like, yeah, it just gets lots harder all the time. And then you get the people who are like actually helpful, right? And they're like, yeah, you better take up Pilates before your womb drops out your fanny on the nappy aisle at Aldi. And that, that is actually the truth. And, yeah, it does get better, but it kind of doesn't at the same time. And you're like, oh, okay, that's okay. I'm fine with that. Anyway, so our kid, right, he's 2-ish, bit more than 2. I don't know. I can't remember. But anyways, 2 something. And he still wakes up quite a bit. He still wakes up. He often tries to lull us into a false sense of security where we're like, oh, he's sleeping through the night. And then we're like, oh, no, he isn't. Back to the sleep deprivation warehouse. Get your rave horn. Ooh. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, when he does sleep through, what I've started to do, and I think this is like a perimenopausal kind of thing, and also just, a parent thing, is I keep waking up when he would usually wake up. So I'm awake, can't get back to sleep again, and everyone else in the house is asleep. Dogs asleep, kids asleep, fellas asleep, all the spiders are asleep. It's just me on my onesie, awake, yeah? So this week I had this night where I basically had 4 hours sleep, and I woke up and I was like, right, that's it. I'm just gonna get up. I'm gonna do some writing. I'm gonna drink some tea. I'm gonna just, I'm just gonna get up. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm just gonna get up. It'll be fine. I'll be fine. And then later on that day, I was like, oh, do you know what? I am buzzing. It was swimming day, so I was getting the kid ready to go swimming, and it was very, very frosty. Yeah, so I went outside and I was like, oh, I'm going to have to defrost the car. So I opened the door, put I was going to say exhaust. Menopause. Sorry. I put the key in the lock. No, I didn't. I put the key in oh my days, Charlie. I put the key in that thing under the steering wheel, the ignition. My goodness me. If you guys stay on for this podcast, I really appreciate it. I will kind of get my shit together, but probably not that much. I might make you laugh, though. Anyway, so put my key in the ignition, put the car on for a bit, let it defrost, yeah? Anyway, then I came outside, right? And I scraped it all down. Then obviously took the key out, shut the door, went back to the house to get the kid out of the house and into the car, right? Get back to the car and I'm like, oh no, none of the doors will open. So I had this whole narrative in my head about what had happened with my car. I was like, oh, I think what's happened, and this is one of the problems with having ADHD and being a little bit over imaginative. So I was like, oh, I think what's happened is I've defrosted the car, and then in the time it's taken me to go and get the kid ready and get him out to the car, all the condensation from when I defrosted it has frozen the doors shut, right? That's even a thing. I'm not living in the North Pole. But anyway, that's the narrative I created, right? And I was like, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I didn't want to open the door because the little one stood next to me and I didn't want to take his face off by, when it suddenly fell open. So I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll open the boot because the key will open the boot. Because basically, guys, when I got this car, right, I was driving like a Twingo, right? Really shit Twingo, all around London and the south of England, being a children's entertainer. And my biggest memories of that time, right, is mainly the summer and the fact I had no aircon and that I was just mainly sweating cobs in some posh person's garden in Henley-on-Thames, dressed as a fucking fairy with really wet, sweaty pants, because you've got to wear tights as a fairy even if it's the height of August. And then I'd get back in my Twingo, it'd be like sitting in a puddle of my own sweat, and and the only thing on the radio would be Radio 1, right, which is okay, but I don't know, after you've been listening to kids' party tunes over and over on repeat, you just want something a bit more chill. So when I got my new car, the only thing I asked for was, can I please have aircon and Radio 6? And they were like, yeah. I think they were like, well, I've seen you coming. So that's my car. And so it's got this stupid thing with the boot where you can't press a button on the outside of the car to open it. You can just put your key in. So I'm stood there thinking, in the freezing cold frost, brilliant. I'll open the boot with my key. Me and the kid can get in the boot. And then I'll kick the doors open from the inside because I've got strong legs from doing all that qigong and yoga, right? So I opened the boot of my car and got into the boot and got the kid in the boot. And the kid's like, oh, mummy, exciting, mummy, this is exciting. And I was thinking, wow, exciting's good vocabulary for a 2 and a bit something year old. Wow, I don't even know how old you are, mate, and I gave birth to you and you're saying things like exciting. You have not got my brains. Anyway, so we're both in the boot of my car and I'm saying, baby, don't get out because I don't want you to end up on the road, okay, and it's quite high from the boot. Just wait there for mummy. And then I got into the back of my car and I'm kicking the door and it still won't open, and I'm like, come on, man, it should open if I'm kicking it. And then I stopped and I was like, have I locked it? I've locked it, haven't I? And that's basically what I'd done. I'd locked it, and that's why the doors wouldn't open. Yeah. So we got in the car, through the doors in the end, and we went to go swimming, right? Swimming. I'll just tell you about this, okay? So the swimmers, right? Swimmers Anonymous, right? Swimmers Anonymous. I call it Swimmers Anonymous, right? Because basically, you take your kid. You're like, I'm going to take my kid swimming, right? Because my kid is a daredevil, yeah. And in my head, I'm like, what is something that's a really useful skill? And I'm like, swimming is a really useful skill, especially for somebody who is a daredevil and has got this kind of attitude certainly from me of I'm not going to follow instructions. I'm just going to do what I want and jump off stuff. And my partner, who's like, I'm not interested in rules. No, thank you. So I know that when the kid gets to be a teenager, he's probably going to be a massive twat, because with my genetics and my partner's genetics, twatting together in mega twatdom, he's just going to take a lot of risks. So I'd rather he knew how to swim. And I'm starting now, because what time is better than the present? Anyway, call it Swimmers Anonymous, because the reality of taking a toddler swimming, right, is 1, they don't really learn how to swim. 2, they just waterboard you. pretty much for like half an hour. And 3, you stand in this changing room with all these parents, right? All these moms who are all having their own like personal life crisis. And so sometimes I'm just like, we're all just holding on to life. And it's like, it just makes me think of like, like Alcoholics Anonymous, where you're kind of committed to something, you're a little bit addicted to something, it's like, oh yes, my name is Charlie, I had my baby and I just love him so much, and we go swimming together, and it means that we're leaving the house and not getting cabin fever, and I'm just addicted to swimming with my baby. It's quite painful and I get drowned on a regular basis, and then I can't find my pants the week. I mean, there was 1 week, oh guys, there was 1 week where I couldn't find my cozy. I couldn't find it. And all I had in the boot of my car was a bikini from way before I was pregnant. Like way before I was pregnant. I looked like a prostitute. Who just had a baby with almost all my nipples hanging out. It was awful. So, this is like Swimming Moms Anonymous, right? And we're all in this changing room and we're all chatting about Christmas. Yeah, because Christmas is coming, isn't it? Christmas is almost here. And we're all really excited about it, but we're also like, ow, how am I going to make it through? So we're all talking about Christmas and we're talking about going to see Santa, yeah? And the thing is right now is you need to pretty much take a mortgage out to take your kid to see Santa, yeah? Like when I was a kid, it was just some like, I don't know, care in the community person, who'd probably like, I don't know, rob the local shop or something, and they were just dressing up as Santa because they like had to, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Or just some old guy who never got to talk to anyone, so he's Santa that year. And their whole outfit was awful and all that kind of stuff. So we was talking about, well, you're going to go and see Santa, and there's all these different, like, different ridiculous things. Like you're half expecting someone to say, oh yes, I'm taking John T to see Santa and we're going to bungee jump afterwards with some reindeer. Do you know what I mean? It's like mega ridiculous visiting Santa now if you've got kids. Which made me think then of this job that I did in London when I was children's entertaining, because I used to do this like mega range of stuff, but some of the high-end stuff was just bonkers. Like you're talking people are spending tens of thousands on like 2 hours of a Christmas experience with like a 1-year-old. It's insane. We worked in this hotel that was like down Mayfair or something like that, and this guy with his 1-year-old kid, he wasn't going to remember anything afterwards. He was like, I'd like you to put an ice rink in the hotel. And the hotel were like, it's a historically conserved hotel. We can't build an ice rink in it, sir. So anyway, they put a skating rink in. Like, honestly, no word of a lie. They put in this skating rink. There was about 600 Disney princesses there. And that was really funny because the lady that I was working with is like really beautiful girl who's dead funny. And she got really pissy about these princesses, which I thought was hilarious. She's like, they don't even do anything. They can't even do magic. Do you know Cinderella over there? She can't even do magic. She's just got nice makeup and a good costume. They're getting paid the same as us, Charlie. Just like, it's so funny. She's one of the least bitter people I know. She got so cross about these princesses. And Rapunzel, what do you think Rapunzel's doing? Do you think that's her real hair? It's not her real hair. It's a wig. All right, mate, chill out. She can't play the ukulele like you can, Charlie. All right, mate, chill out. Anyway, we were in the scrum of it on this like skating rink thing. And, we did a clown show and all that kind of stuff. And then basically, honestly, these like posh people who were really, really rich, they just let their kids like beat up skating snowman. Like, I think he might have had to like go to A&E afterwards. I was like, whoa. Like, maybe that's like where the term snowflake came from, because those kids will probably be like, parliamentary like leaders. Now, I love how I just said that. Parliamentary. What's parliamentary? I mean parliament people, or bankers or something like that. Oh, there's nothing worse than spoiling a kid. I really think that. Oh, my goodness. Oh, yeah. Poor snowman. Poor skating snowman. Probably broke his ankle. Bless him. Right, where was I? So I'm in the changing rooms with I've Got a Swimming Toddler Anonymous, and we're talking about Santa. One of the mums, I love this mum. She's like proper like just balls deep. This is what I think. She goes, oh, well, don't go to so-and-so. Right, I'm not going to say where so-and-so is because I don't want to like be inflammatory or whatever it is. It's not inflammatory, is it? It's some other word. I don't know. Who cares? Anyway, she goes, don't go there because you know last year Santa didn't turn up and one of the checkout girls had to do it. And she stank of cigarettes because she'd just been smoking outside. And I was like, oh, my days. This is an amazing story, right? So she showed us this picture, right? Showed us this picture of this poor checkout girl who had to be like Santa. And honestly, she looked like she was doing like some kind of pornographic shoot or something because there was no Santa trousers. Yeah, I was like, where's the Santa trousers? And this lady was like, I don't know. Santa must have just come with his own trousers. They only had the coat. I could just imagine this really posh, like retail kind of place, you know? And like you've got it's so like poshy Poshington. And then you've got like, you know, all the different lasses on the checkouts and in the cafe and like the cleaners and the like, you know, little art workers and all that kind of stuff. And you can just imagine them all looking at this Santa thing and being like, I'm not wearing that. I've got menopause and I'm not wearing any pants anyway because my fanny gets too itchy. So you can't put me in that. My fanny will be hanging out of it because I tell you what, oh my days, perimenopause and menopause, there is a party of crazy ass bacteria in your fandan. Hi, we're just totally fucking with your life down here. It's so glamorous. Not at all. Anyway. So then I was thinking, oh, and then this lass, she's been out, she was smoking around of cigarettes, having a little nip of whiskey, you know, and she comes back in and someone's like, Sandra, have you got pants on? And she's like, yeah, why? Why? And they're like, right, you're Santa. Can you imagine? You'd be like, sorry, I'm what? I'm usually just weighing sausages out on the butcher's. Yeah, today you're being Santa. Just get this on, off you pop. Honestly, this lass at swimming was like, honestly, nothing was left to the imagination. Oh, I love it. I love it. And also it made me think of the Santa that used to do parties with me, the really, really high-end parties. Honestly, this guy looked like, he looked like a fisherman. His beard was like down to his tummy and he had this little tin of peppermint creams that he just used to eat so his breath didn't smell. And he was like properly like about 90 and he just looked like real Santa. You know, he looked like his outfit had been weaved by magical elves, you know, like real magical elves. Like it was like amazing. Oh, bless him. Anyway, so yeah, that's Christmas is coming. And yeah, it's crazy. So the last thing that happened, right, and this is like probably the worst part of what happened on my day of sleep deprivation and Swimmers Anonymous, is I was driving back and I think I dropped my little one off because I needed to come home and do some work in the studio. And I got to this bit in the road that kind of... oh gosh, I want to say milk bottles, but that's not what I mean. It bottlenecks. Is that what it is? You know where it goes into like a funnel shape? I'm so tired, it's ridiculous. Anyway, so I got into this bit that bottlenecks. I think that's what it is, it bottlenecks. Because no milk bottles are involved in the bottlenecking of this bit of road. But never mind, right? So it bottlenecks, right? I was sat in my car driving, having an imaginary conversation with Ryan Reynolds about how being neurodiverse is quite funny. And he was like, oh yeah, Charlie, you're so great. I think you're hilarious. Why don't you be in a movie with me? And I was just chatting away to him in my imagination. And basically, I drove through this, like, bottleneck bit and just, like, clipped someone's wing mirror. Yeah. And I was like, oh, what's that bang, Ryan? And then I was like, oh, Ryan's not here, is he? No, Charlie, because you're in your imagination instead of driving your car, you dickhead. Anyway, then I had this really irrational, like, panic that whoever's car I'd just clipped, who was driving off in the opposite direction, but slowing down, that they might be, like, some member of the mafia or something. You know, they were only, like, driving probably... I don't know, just that little tiny shitty car. But who knows? They could have been mafia. And then they were going to chase me and like chop my fingers off for like running into their wing mirrors. So then what I did is I'd go really, really fast all the way home and then like park my car in this little like kind of little bit so that no one could find me. And I got out and back of my wing mirror had come off. And so, you know, I think my message this week is like, you know, if you are rocking in the corner of a sleep deprivation warehouse, well done. You're doing a great job, you know. And just like personally, perhaps I need to, A, not have imaginary conversations with Hollywood movie stars in my car whilst I'm actually driving it. And B, I need to get more sleep. So, this Christmas, give yourself a chance, take a breath. As my yoga teacher aptly said, Christmas can be a lovely time, sprinkled with shit, or it can be a shit time, sprinkled with lovely. And sometimes you need to get outside, put your feet on the ground, and take a breath. And I think she's right. And sometimes you need to not get in your car at all. So, lots and lots of love to you all. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. I hope the new year brings lots of joy and happiness. And if it is hard and you are tired, at the very least, give yourself 3 minutes to take a few breaths and to connect with the earth. And I mean, if you're going to go on an imaginary adventure with Ryan Reynolds or anyone else, maybe just do it when you're sat down on a chair instead of in a car. Be rested. Be rested, my friends. Lots of Christmas love. I'll speak to you soon.
That's all from me this week,
Char-ramumess of power.
Ta-ra, my ducky chickens. Ta-ra.